Hello, welcome everybody to Soft Ticks in Washington State. I'm Riley Pollard with One Health Alliance in Washington State. One Health Alliance is a prominent source of information for the public on vector-borne related illnesses. Today we're going to be talking specifically about soft ticks and how they affect our community, how we know we're being affected, a little bit more about the morphology and the life history of one of the soft ticks, and where they're from, and talk a little bit about their research. First off, we need to talk about what a pathogen is. A pathogen is a bacterium, virus, or other microorganism that can cause disease. So a lot of times the actual, like with COVID, there's a virus that's making us sick. A pathogen is a virus or a bacteria. A vector is a living organism that transmits an infectious agent from an infected animal to a human or another animal. So something takes that virus or bacteria from one to another. Most of the time, you could see this is probably going to be a tick. This is going to act as that vector. Vector biology is a science devoted to researching insects that transmits pathogens, the insects' contact with humans, and the interaction of insects with disease-causing organisms. This is important because many insects act as vectors that transport pathogens that can have huge impacts on humans and other animals. The science devoted to researching insects that transmits pathogens, the insects' contact with humans, interaction of insects with the disease-causing organisms is vector biology. Without research into the vector's disease, the cause of the disease may go unnoticed. Nobody will know it's there. So it's very important that we study these small yet large interactions. The purpose of One Health Alliance is to provide a collaborative effort of various disciplines to reach optimal health for the people, animals, and the environment. One Health Alliance uh, across the country, the state, local, world, can cover a broad regional area. But today, we're just for Washington State. The bacterium, or the pathogen that we're talking about today is the Borrelia hermsi. It's going to be this squirrely little line. That is the pathogen that makes us sick. And oftentimes, and what it does is it transports the pathogen, or it is a pathogen, and it causes the tick-borne relapsing fever, or otherwise known as Ornithodoros hermsi. So only Borrelia genus pathogens are able to infect Ornithodoros genus ticks. The soft tick here is the Ornithodoros hermsi tick. Soft ticks are very different than regular ticks. The other ticks are hard ticks. This tick, the soft tick, they have a more globular body without the structural line found in other ticks, like hard ticks. The body is roughened or warty in appearance with tiny protuberances called mammae. Um, you can see some of the differences in soft ticks. If you're looking down, you can't see their mouth. Underneath, you can see. So this is a top view looking down at the tick here. Scrolling down, some of the this is so you can see here over here on this right, this female ventral view. You can see the mouth parts right here, but on the left side, this dorsal view, you can't see the mouth. So that's one very distinct characteristic of a soft tick. Now, what is a tick? Some of you may be asking. Ticks are blood-feeding external parasites that are often found on mammals, birds, reptiles, and humans around the world. Ticks share a common life cycle, like with fleas. They are both they both have four life cycle stages: egg, larvae, nymph, and adult. Blood meals often come between the molts of each life stage. They also can molt several times in a larvae or a nymph stage. The nymphal blood meals and the greater blood volume intake can also increase the development between the nymphs and adults quicker. Um, Longer distances between blood meals can also uh, extend that time stage. Now, the transmission between a tick and a human often comes between a rodent and a human as well. Where there are these ticks, the Ornithodoros tick, there is also rodents many times. Uh, you can see there is a connection. Ticks get infected with the spirochaete, the Borrelia hermsi. They bite a rodent, squirrel, rat, mouse, mice, and that goes back and forth between them. But a human, will get infected from a tick bite. Many times we don't know that we've been infected by a tick. Uh, some ticks prefer squirrels, chipmunks, burrowing owls, and prairie dogs. Some prefer other small burrowers or cave-dwelling animals. They feed for about 15-20 minutes at night. The host doesn't know they're there. Humans and rodents are a dead-end host. Humans cannot transmit the pathogen to another human. Most tick-borne relapsing fever cases occur in summer months when more people are vacationing and sleeping in rodent-infested cabins. You can see there's a cabin here. The tick is predominantly found in areas of high elevation, 1,500 to 8,000 feet, in coniferous forests. So if we scroll down to a map I have here of where cases of tick-borne relapsing fever are, you can see these states with the dots is where um, there's been cases. So there's 11 western states: Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, Nevada, Montana, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, Colorado, and North Dakota. This tick is considered a nest tick, meaning they're found in rodent nests long after the rodent has left sometimes. The tick's been known to have been found in a nest years after the rodents have left. So that's a very key element uh, when we're talking about the transmission between ticks, rodents, ticks, humans. We'll go screen kind of, there we go. In Washington, you can see where quite a bit of our exposures are within the state. This is where the majority of our warmer coniferous forests are at, or more higher elevation. We have in the center, we have the Central Cascades, up and around. These are more upper basin. Down here, Kennewick area, Yakima. This is the Columbia River Basin. This is very low elevation. And there's not a whole lot of coniferous forest. And then down here in the southwest corner of Washington is the Blue Mountain areas where there is a large amount of coniferous forest. So we will definitely should expect these ticks in those areas. One of the ways to prevent these are not being around rodents. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second. There's a couple symptoms with the tick-borne relapse fever. Primarily high fever, 103 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, headache, muscle and joint ache symptoms. These symptoms can reoccur, disappear, and then reoccur several days later. So you can see 7 days incubation period where they'll be symptomatic for 3 days, 7 days off, 3 days on, 7 days off, 3 days on again. This can easily be treated with antibiotics. But if you don't know where these fevers are coming from, a lot of times clinicians don't put 2 and 2 together. Oh, my screen disappeared there. There it is. So, yes, again, you can see there's a lot down in California and central Colorado there as well. We're going to talk about research, some of the different researches here. To kind of counteract the rodent contact with us, it's often best to avoid areas of rodents. So cabins that haven't been inhabited in a while, at these high elevations, you're not going to want to sleep in the bedding material if it's been left there. Signs of rodents, acorn husks, pine cone husks, droppings, rat nests, squirrel nests. These things all have potential to have the tick in the area, especially if there's no current signs of it. The ticks could still be there. Current meaning they're actively nesting in there. Some of the research in Los Angeles County, a 50-year-old man was cleaning out an observatory. There was rodent nests in old boxes, rodent feces, acorn husks on the ground. He noticed some lesions on his hands and legs, and then the next couple weeks he was up and down with fever. And it wasn't until later researchers tested that observatory and found all these ticks in there that were positive with the pathogen of the Borrelia hermsi. Had the patient or the doctor tested for this, he probably could have gotten over the fever much quicker. Couple other research associated with the tick-borne relapsing fever. Climate can also affect the distribution and the ticks molting at different time frames, which can also mean that a shift in tick distribution is more suitable to different habitat, going to higher elevations. And that is all I have for you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it, and please have a good day.